Bullhorn Analytics Enterprise Edition allows for you to be able to see your team from the company perspective through your management teams and all the way down to the end user to provide real-time analytics into how the business is performing. Fully configurable to track the metrics that you care about, whether you're a manager or an executive, really making sure we can report on the things in real time with an easy to use tool and a modern user experience. A tool that's going to be built right into the Bullhorn platform, making it easy for you and your entire team to be able to jump into it, while also providing a launch point for you and your team for the week or the day. As we jump into Bullhorn itself here, you'll notice it's right within our navigation menu right there, just like another icon in the system, but it's going to be its own page. On your one view, which is the module we're looking at here, this is where you're going to see your dashboard information. Being able to assign different configurable KPIs and metrics depending on who the person is that's going to be looking at it. Right now, from a company perspective, we're tracking some of the high-level metrics there, such as sales, interviews, and overall production. As an executive, you can click in and see real-time, where does the business stand relative to our goals with those color indicators. When you see green, you're 90% on pace or better. Yellow is going to be 50 to 90%. And whenever we see red, that's going to be 50% on pace to where we should be. So really want to make sure we can provide that quick hit and understand exactly where we are against our goals, being able to see this in real time without having to do too much clicking around. From a managerial perspective or a team perspective, every manager can set goals for their own team. So as I jump into the Boston office here, being able to set different goals, targets, and KPIs for my users and my employees that roll up to me. Being able to see the things that I care about, making sure my team's performing extremely well, while also getting an understanding of where are these activities attributing to. So if I'm able to click into a record here, I can easily break down the leaderboard, 2 clicks being able to see that information. So it looks like Gladys here is doing exceptionally well. She's carrying the majority of the workload. Really want to make sure as a manager, I'm able to see that information whenever I jump into it. From an end user perspective, if I were to jump to Gladys there, you'll now see there are different metrics set for her. Being able to understand what are her roles and responsibilities and what are some targets and metrics that we need to set for her. Gladys, as she comes into the office on a Monday morning or opens up her laptop while working from home, able to see where she currently sits against all her goals and quotas, and be able to drive her behavior from there. So this week may look like a good time to jump into some of those new jobs. Doing business development for that will hopefully find some fruit there. While also providing a launch point from the KPIs and metrics, being able to use actionable insights. So actionable insights is a new way or a new idea in reporting for something that's missing or hasn't occurred yet. When we think about when we source candidates but don't send them to a job or a client submission yet, want to make sure we're recouping our investment. Otherwise, the money we spent to source that person or post a job for that person to apply to, otherwise that's wasted. Being able to get you real-time insight, pull you a list of that. So Gladys is able to come in and find all those candidates she sourced and quickly run through this list. Maybe she wants to call them today. But really being able to drive behavior without having to dig through the Bullhorn system or go search candidates, everything's going to be propped up right here from an end user perspective for them to drive what they need to do this week. Below that, what we're going to be looking at is different counts. So looking at live metrics such as interviews or jobs open in this given time right now. Also from a pure activity standpoint, what has she done this month or this time period for whatever we're looking at? So getting you to those details that typically you'd have to run advanced searches or export data out to see, making sure this is really easy for everyone to use, being able to come in and click that list while also, maybe I want to take this a step further, making sure that burden doesn't fall on a reporting team. Every end user has the ability to self-service, come in and look at information in different ways. So if Gladys here wanted to come in and tweak her information or get an idea of, hey, I've sourced a bunch of client contacts, but what client companies are they actually from? Being able to seamlessly drag and drop a variable into here and group it how we would like. Navigating to the bottom of the page here, we're looking at different information that typically isn't used in a day-to-day basis, such as efficiency metrics, such as time to fill, contract size, average contract duration, as well as data quality and ratios. So ratios, understanding how efficient a specific user, team, or company is. How many jobs do we need to add in order to get placements to hit our goal this year? Or, how many client submissions on average do we typically need to do in order to secure an interview? So basic examples there, being able to marry these workflow stages up so you can understand where the resources are allocated. Are we submitting a ton of candidates? Are we, getting really lucky and going one-to-one on these? Or is that experience? Allows you, without having that data there, there's no reason to ask the question, and also can't share that experience with the rest of the team. From a jobs pipeline perspective, the second module we'll see here, it is a great way to visualize all the open orders in your system. So being able to segment these out, say in weekly recruiting meetings, be able to manager, be able to pull up with their team a specific look into the job orders, that everything that's on the plates of their team. Being able to come into a specific role, open that up and see exactly where all these candidates are relative to completion. So this workflow you see here is fully configurable to match to whatever you have in Bullhorn today, but it acts as a tracker. Being able to pull this up in a weekly recruiting meeting, see all the resources, making sure we're allocating these out effectively, making sure we're following up with things and nothing's falling through the cracks. So many different ways to use this, but really provides an in-depth experience into your job orders without having to click into individual orders themselves. So all in one spot. We can even take this a step further by searching for a specific user and just looking at those jobs. So making sure we can get to the answers quickly in a very easy way. As we navigate through into slice and dice, very aptly named, going to be something where we can take metrics and then slice them with different variables. So any metric that you have configured in your system will be able to pull through, such as interviews, activities, sourcing candidates, a bunch of other ones in there as well. You're able to control the data set. So what users do I want to compare this with in a specific time period, while also being able to overlay different things such as, hey, show me only the data for a specific client of mine. I really want to find a deep dive answer there. When we configure reports, it's super easy. All we do is we have to go in and select the exact options that we want to run. So I'm just going to select interviews and client submissions for this month for the entire company and then generate that report. Now, if I want to see this a step further, typically I'd have to go back and configure a report or ask an analyst to do that for me. But in real time with self-service, I can actually drop this in and break this out by client once again. So where are these owners, where are these users dedicating their time? Being able to visually display this how I'd like to as well. We don't have to just show in a table. You can do graphs, different charts. Really want to make sure from a visualization perspective, you can show it how you'd like. Very similar to OneView, you also have the ability to click through and see that raw data behind the scenes. So if you need to investigate further, you have the ability to do so. If this is a report you would like to save and maybe pull this up week over week or distribute it with everybody, we can save the report here, and then it is all accessible via our slice and dice report saved here. As you'll see, very easy to jump back into. I'm jumping into a different report right here. So really being able to build up that repository, share it with any other users or teams or different individuals within the business that need to see it. On Point is a little bit different than what we've seen so far from a reporting perspective. A lot of what we've seen is looking out in terms of, hey, how do we integrate with our clients and how do we interact with them, or at the user level, what is everyone doing? But this is a great way to compare users against each other to really understand a couple different things and plenty of options. The one I really like is going to be around the lines of identifying what the picture of success looks like. So you always have that top performer. You want to replicate them as much as possible. What we can do here with a saved report, and this is recruiting success, be able to break them down and what actually makes them successful. So you can take your top performer, break them down component over component, and really start to see a trend or a pattern in the data that shows you why they're successful. What do they do different than everybody else? Then you can take that knowledge and share it with the team. So being able to prop up, somebody who might be underperforming just by showing them, hey, this is what Adina does. She's always at the top of the leaderboard. The proof's in the pudding, and really want to make sure that's something that's easy to follow. Different than that with new hires. If you're able to show them sort of a playbook for success, this is how our top performer is always at the top of the leaderboard. You can be able to show this to them, be able to ramp them up quicker. Really want to make sure they're not lost. There's no gaps here. Everything's going to be laid out for them, as well as from a overarching reporting perspective and On Point. We can pull in any of those metrics we saw before, but a different element is going to be around ratios. So being able to pull two different activities and see how they relate to one another. Maybe we're looking for efficiencies or who's doing the most successful in terms of submissions, being able to marry these up. There are some stock out of the box, but we also have the ability to create custom ratios. So if you wanted to see two metrics that you'd pick, be able to put them in there, deploy them, and see what they are for your users and how well they're doing in those areas. Second to last module here is going to be a trends perspective. So being able to take data sets, not only just metrics, but also your ratios and look at them over time. Really being able to understand from a business perspective, are we looking at revenue? Are we looking at activity? Or something like key activities where we're just looking at over the last 90 days, what has my team been doing from a bringing in new jobs to client submissions, interviews, and ultimately placements. What we have here is you have the ability to overlay multiple data sets without having to code or configure anything beyond drop downs. As I expand out this list, if I wanted to be able to add different variables, different ratios, different metrics, it's super easy. I can just come in, select them from the drop down, add them to the list, and they're all good to go. They'll be displayed. I have control over how the data plots, what color it is, naming it, nomenclature, and also the users behind it in terms of where the data comes from. So being able to take this in real time, very easy to produce these reports, all end user driven, low code environments. And the last piece to the puzzle here is going to be our gamification center. So gamification, these are rolling leaderboards that you're in full control of. They can be leaderboards, trend charts, as well as bar charts and graphs to be able to display and relay information back to your team. Recruiting and staffing is a ton of competition built in, so we want to encourage that. Produces that drivable, scalable growth that we talked about in the beginning. Having this in real time. Can pull this up on a computer screen or even display this on a monitor or TV in the office. You're in full control of what each screen is. You can also put in your own slides and pictures and be able to produce that competition. Maybe throw in a President's Club or Achievers Club if that's something you do. Be able to advertise it and really garner that from a bottom up perspective. The last piece to the Bullhorn Analytics Enterprise Edition is going to be our mobile capabilities. So you don't have to be in Bullhorn to see your dashboards or trackers, whether you're an executive or an end user. As long as you have an internet connection, you're always able to see where you currently sit and what's going on. So whether we're in the office, out of the office, maybe going to meet with a client, as an executive or an account manager, I'd want to have an understanding of what's going on with that account and is there anything I need to follow up with? Pulling out your phone, easily able to access those dashboards and even filtered right down into a specific client and pull up just that data. So going into that meeting, you're able to filter this, see it in real time, just brush up on that information and really come to the table with a very productive conversation. From an end user perspective, being able to set the scene for what you have coming up that week. So say I'm Danny Keene here, and let me remove the company filter to make this clear. Being able to see where I currently sit against all my goals, what do I need to do this week, and ultimately, how can I set myself up for success? So being able to check this, whether it's middle of the week or even say a Sunday night prior to the work week starting, just getting a head start on what I need to do. Really want to wrap my head around how things need to be accomplished, as well as where should I dedicate my time this week or tomorrow. As always here at Bullhorn, thank you for your time and our core purpose to create an incredible customer experience. That was the Bullhorn Analytics Enterprise Edition. Thank you very much.